So we're going to be talking about making a risk-free $300 sports betting. So I remember how nervous I was to sign up for my first sportsbook account, to place my very first bet, but I'm going to show you how signing up for two sportsbooks, in this video we're going to use the examples BetMGM and FanDuel, will make you a risk-free over $300 actually, but about $300. So I'm going to show you how. And the reason is sign-up bonuses. So you can see FanDuel right here. They have an $1,000 no sweat bet. That is their sign-up bonus. You place your first bet up to $1,000. If you lose, no sweat. You get your money back, right? And there's some strings attached, but on BetMGM, it's basically the same thing, but it's called a risk-free bet. So you place your first bet up to $1,000. If it loses, you get your money back. So I'm going to show you how you can use both of these promos to make a risk-free $300, about $350 to be exact. Now, one thing I want to mention is a lot of people would be like, this sounds too good to be true, right? Why is this possible? And the reason is all of these sports books, right? There's like 100 sports books in the United States. They all are in competition for you. Right? So it's kind of like a restaurant having a special of the day or something like that, or, drug dealers giving out samples of drugs. Basically, these sports books are trying to get you hooked on their platform. So they offer these sign-up bonuses, which are oftentimes very lucrative, to get you to sign up for them. Right? FanDuel doesn't want you on BetMGM. So they offer an $1,000 no sweat bet because they want you to sign up for FanDuel first. So you're betting on FanDuel. Right? Most sports books, they know they make an average of, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000 per customer per year. So if they offer you a promo that, let's say, has a profit margin of $300 or so, it doesn't really matter because they know they're going to make it off most customers over the course of the first year. So these books offer these sign-up bonuses. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. FanDuel, BetMGM, you're going to need $2,000 total. Well, you don't need $2,000, but if you have $200, your profit margin is going to be lower. But regardless, let's go ahead and let's get into it. So the reason that this is a risk-free $300 is we're going to hedge, right? And you're going to hedge by betting on equal and opposite outcomes, right? So typically when you look at an NBA point spread, here we can see Bucks Kings, right? The Bucks are minus 3.5 point favorites. The Kings are plus 3.5 point underdogs. And both wagers are at minus 110 odds, right? That's very common for point spreads, also for totals, is both sides of the market are at minus 110 odds. So basically, you need to wager $11 to win back 10. You need to bet $110 to win back 100 in profit. So what I'm going to say is, okay, take these two opposite sides of the spread, put your $1,000 risk-free bet for BetMGM on the Bucks minus 3.5, and then put your $1,000 no sweat bet on the Kings plus 3.5. So these are equal and opposite outcomes, right? We know the Bucks are going to win by 4 or more points, in which case BetMGM will win and FanDuel will lose, or the Kings are going to cover the spread, so they're going to lose by 1 to 3 points, or the Kings are going to win, right? If the Kings cover plus 3.5, then our wager on FanDuel will win, and our bet on BetMGM will lose, right? So now what you need to remember is when our bet loses on either FanDuel or BetMGM, we're not losing all our money, right? We're actually getting back an $1,000 bonus bet, which is called a free bet, a bet credit, something like that, right? So we're not actually losing the bet that loses. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip over to my screen. I'll run through kind of the math very briefly and show you how you can convert these bonuses into a risk-free profit. So let's just get into the numbers. And again, I'm recommending you have $2,000 so you can put $1,000 in MGM, $1,000 in FanDuel. The promos are $1,000 risk-free bets. Your first bet is insured up to $1,000. So if you want to maximize, right, take full value of the promotion, ideally you have $1,000 in each sports book. But again, if let's say you only have $1,000, put $500 in each and then slice all these numbers in two that we're going to go through. So any questions you have as well, I'll leave my email in the description on YouTube, and you can feel free to reach out. But let's get into it, right? So on BetMGM, we're putting $1,000, and it's our first bet. So this bet is insured up to $1,000, and it's called a risk-free bet. We're wagering on the Bucks minus 3.5 at minus 110. Then on FanDuel, we're on the Kings plus 3.5 at minus 110. Both of these bets are insured, right? If the bet loses, we get our money back in the form of a bonus bet. So we know because these are equal and opposite outcomes, right? One bet is always going to win, one bet's always going to lose. So we're always going to win one bet and get back an $1,000 bonus bet on the other sports book, right? If our play on BetMGM wins, we win cash. We are up money on BetMGM, and on FanDuel, we're down cash, but we have an $1,000 bonus bet now, right? And if our bet on FanDuel wins, we have an $1,000 bonus bet on BetMGM. But anyways, let's get into it, right? So these are equal and opposite outcomes, right? So if the Bucks cover the spread, if they cover the spread, they win by 4 or more points. We're up $909.09 on BetMGM, right? We bet $1,000 at minus 110 odds. Minus 110 means you're betting 11 to win back 10. So when you're betting 1,000, your profit is $909.09. Just 1,000 times 100 over 110. Right? And then we're down $1,000 in profit on FanDuel. So we're down $90.91 in real money, but our bet on FanDuel lost. So we have an $1,000 bonus bet that we get to take advantage of on FanDuel, right? But we're down $90.91 in real money, right? And that's because of the VIG, right? We're betting at minus 110 odds. So because we're betting on equal and opposite outcomes at minus 110 juice, we're always going to be down real money, right? This is how sportsbooks make money. They charge the VIG, they charge the juice. So if this promo wasn't available, right, if we didn't have a risk-free bet on FanDuel and MGM, we definitely wouldn't want to bet on equal and opposite outcomes at minus 110 odds. Definitely wouldn't want to do that. But on the other hand, if the Kings cover, right, we're down $1,000 on BetMGM, but now we have an $1,000 bonus bet, and we're up $909.09 on FanDuel because we bet $1,000 on the Kings to cover the plus 3.5 spread at minus 110 odds. So equal and opposite outcomes. We're always ending up down $90.91 of real money, right? But we have an $1,000 bonus bet on either FanDuel or BetMGM, right? So let's say now our bet on BetMGM wins. So on BetMGM, we're up $909.09. So our balance is $1,909.09, right? We deposited $1,000 initially into BetMGM, $1,000 into FanDuel. On FanDuel, we lost our $1,000, but now we have an $1,000 bonus bet. And on BetMGM, right, we have $1,000 plus our profit for our first wager that won. So we're up $1,909.09. Right? So we have an $1,000 bonus bet and $1,909.09 of cash, right? This is cash in our BetMGM account. So now what we're going to do is the same thing. You're going to hedge, right? So this time, let's just pick another game. And again, all I'm doing is I'm picking equal and opposite outcomes, right, that are at minus 110 odds. So you can pick any game, right? You wouldn't have to pick the Bucks-Kings game. If there were Wizards-Celtics, any game, right? If there's an MLB game, over 6.5, under 6.5 runs, minus 110, minus 110. All I'm doing is picking equal and opposite outcomes, right? Where both plays are minus 110 odds on FanDuel and MGM. So you can do this for any point spread, right? At college basketball, MLB, it doesn't matter. Anywhere you can find minus 110, minus 110. All that matters is you're getting equal and opposite outcomes, right? We're not even risking money here. We're betting $1,000 on equal and opposite outcomes where both plays are minus 110 odds. So now let's just find another game. Here I just said, okay, the Hornets game, right? So now what we're going to do is you're going to change up these numbers a bit. So a bonus bet works differently than cash, right? Because it's not the same as cash. It's not your money, technically. So when you stake a bonus bet, you're only going to get back the profit. You're not going to get back the stake. So I'll kind of show you what this means as we go through this example. But what I'm going to say is, okay, we have this bonus bet on FanDuel. Place that on the Hornets plus 7.5. So that's one side. And then place $500 cash on the Cavs minus 7.5 at minus 110 odds, once again on both, on BetMGM with cash. So we're betting on the favored team to cover the spread at minus 110 odds on BetMGM for $500, right? We won our first wager on MGM, right? So we're placing it with $500 cash. And then on FanDuel, we have the bonus bet because we lost our first play on FanDuel, right? So we're going to bet on the Hornets plus 7.5, and we're going to throw our entire bonus bet on that, right? So now there's two options: the Hornets cover or the Cavs cover. Once again, these are equal and opposite outcomes. So if the Hornets cover, right? If the Hornets cover the spread, we're down $500 on MGM, right? We bet $500 on the Cavs to cover, So we're down $500 on BetMGM. So our initial balance of $1,900 roughly is down to about $1,400. But on FanDuel, our bonus bet won. So we turn our $1,000, right? So our balance on FanDuel is 1,000 times 100 over 110. We put a $1,000 bonus bet at minus 110 odds. So again, you're not going to get back your stake. You're not going to get back your principal. You're not getting back $1,000 from the bonus bet. You're only getting back the profit or the winnings. You're only getting back the winnings. So if our play wins, on FanDuel, we're getting back 1,000 times 100 over 110. So that is now our balance in the FanDuel account. All we had no cash in our FanDuel account, right? We placed our first bet on FanDuel on the Kings plus 3.5. It lost, right? Our play on FanDuel lost. So now we have $0 in our FanDuel account, but we have this $1,000 bonus bet. So if our bonus bet wins, on the Hornets plus 7.5, we now have $909.09 in our FanDuel account because we're only getting back the profit, right? So now our BetMGM balance is $1409.09. We went down $500 because we hedged on the Cavs minus 7.5 for $500. So we have $1409.09 on BetMGM, and we have $909.09 on FanDuel. So our total balance is $2,318.18. We only deposited, $2,000 to start. That's all we started with. So we're up $2318.18 total. We have a total balance of $2318.18. So we're up $318.18, right? Because we're just hedging these risk-free bets against each other. Now, on the other hand, let's say, we lose again on FanDuel. So we lose our first two bets on FanDuel. Well, we just lost our $1,000 bonus bet. So on FanDuel, we have nothing. We don't have a bonus bet. We no longer have cash left. But on BetMGM, we just won a $500 bet at minus 110 odds. So we just won Cavs minus 7.5 at minus 110 odds with 500 cash. So our balance goes from, being 1909. So our balance was initially 1909.09. So we win our second bet on BetMGM. So our balance is going to be, 1909.09. So our starting balance plus 500 times 100 over 110, right? We're staking $500 at minus 110 odds. So our balance is going to be, 1909.09. Plus $500 times 100 over 110, which you can see right here. So now our balance on BetMGM is $2363.64. We're down to nothing on FanDuel, and we're up, off a total deposit of $2,000, $1,000 into each account. Now all our money's in BetMGM, but we're up $363.64, right? And that's exactly how you would do this. Promo if you wanted to make a risk-free profit of roughly $325. So I'm not saying this is optimal. I'm not saying it's optimal to hedge, but if you were just like, screw it, all I want to make is a risk-free $350, all you need is 2 games, equal and opposite outcomes. So first, just find an NBA game, right? Literally just go to BetMGM, go to FanDuel, right? So we can actually, let me flip over to BetMGM, let me flip over to FanDuel, and we can find some more examples, and then we can go through them very briefly. So let's say you just wanted to do this promo tonight. You're like, screw it, let me make this risk-free $300. So what you do is you go to FanDuel, you go to MGM, and you look for where they both have a spread or a total, right? It can be a total as well at minus 110 odds, right? So here you can see Utah State. You can get them minus 1.5 at minus 110 odds on FanDuel. The other side of the spread is Missouri plus 1.5. right, at minus 110 odds on FanDuel, and the odds on BetMGM are exactly the same. So what you could do is just pick one side on BetMGM. So on BetMGM, let's say we bet Missouri. So you'd want to put $1,000 on this, and then on FanDuel, bet the other side, Utah State, minus 1.5. These are equal and opposite outcomes. Hit it for $1,000, and then just go through the exact same math, right? It's going to be the exact same math. The only difference is instead of Bucks minus 3.5 on BetMGM, you're going to put Missouri plus 1.5, right? And then what's going to go here is Utah State minus 1.5, right? So you can just kind of switch out these examples, and I'll put this spreadsheet in the description. So just find a game with minus 110 odds where the odds are the same, right, on BetMGM and FanDuel. Now let's just say, okay, this first game ends and your bet on BetMGM wins, right? Let's say Missouri covers the spread. So now again, you're down $1,000 on FanDuel, right? And you're up $909.09 on BetMGM. So now you need another game, right? You got to find another game so you can do the second part, right? So you can put your bonus bet down. So instead of Hornets Cavs, what we could do is, just find another game. So we'll scroll, and you can see here Charleston SDSU. The total's at over under 141.5. So let's see here, Charleston SDSU. The total's over under 141.5. So what you'd want to do is pick one side on FanDuel. So let's say the over. So the over on FanDuel, right? Let's say you take the over, put your $1,000 bonus bet on it. Now on BetMGM, you hit the under, right? Hit the under with $500 cash. So just equal and opposite outcomes. And once again, the math will hold where you're going to end up 318.18 or 363.64. So in either case, you're going to make about, 325, 350 bucks, however you want to think about it. And again, you're just finding plays where the odds are the same on FanDuel and BetMGM, -110 for a total or a spread. And you can guarantee yourself between these sign-up bonuses a risk-free profit, over 300 bucks. So hopefully this video was helpful, insightful, and let's make money.